So in the past video, we said there are two ways that you make wealth. One, you cut your costs, and two, you increase your income. In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you some ways that I've cut my costs by telling you 9 things that I had to stop buying in order to start making more money, which I realized, a lot of us, I don't know if you know about the leaking bucket effect. All right, so let me tell you a story about the leaking bucket. What happens is they did an experiment whereby they're giving people buckets, and one of the bucket had holes. So this is something we speak about in marketing, right? So they had holes in these buckets, and then what would happen is people would have to ferry water from one section to the next. And what would happen is you realize these people are very motivated, and you give them the buckets, and then they have to carry that water. And people put in effort. No matter how hard they tried, it's very difficult because you have a leaking bucket. So in marketing, we use this analogy just to speak about you're attracting clients, but then there's the leaking bucket effect whereby you're not really satisfying what they need. Why do I share this story with you? Well, it has everything to do with what we'll be talking about today. Here are my 9 leaking bucket things. Number 1 is I had to stop buying alcohol and weed. Now, I'm not one to smoke. I don't really like smoking weed. Shout out to everybody who does. For me, I used to take gummies, man. And when you're taking gummies, you just pop in one, you pop in another. Before you know it, 3 gummies in, you're high. And you're like, whew, I gotta do this again. But I soon started seeing how much buying these things adds up. In a month, you see yourself spending almost $500 just on trying to get high and have a good time. But that doesn't really get me anywhere in terms of trying to save money, trying to make money. On this channel, that's the one thing that we're trying to do, which is build wealth. So for me, item number 1 that I had to go was alcohol and weed. And now I'm not saying that I do not partake in these events. I do, but I do it moderately, and I try to attend events where I don't have to buy liquor by myself. If someone invites me to a party, to a wedding, hey, I'll enjoy, but I'm not putting out my money. Item number 2 that I had to stop investing in is transit. So here in Vancouver, Canada, where I stay, what tends to happen is, when you're taking transit, people say it's cheaper, but for me, I realize it's not really cheap because we spend almost $300 on it a month just to use our public transport system. So if you're spending $300 to move around the city, depending on the jobs that you do, you're spending a lot of money, which is something that I didn't vibe with well, because sometimes, you don't want to take transit, you end up taking Uber, you end up doing this, and you realize that I'm spending almost another $1,000 just on transportation. Whereas if I have a car like I do now, I'm paying a car payment, which is like $300 a month on my car payment. I'm putting in gas, which is like $200. So that's $500. And then from the same car, I can make more money. I can go do Uber. I can do a lot of things that I cannot do using the public transport system. And I can make more moves that way. And I'm quicker, and I'm saving time and money. So for me, I stopped justifying using the public transport system, which not only is inefficient and costs you money, because it stops you also from having better jobs. Like with video production, you can do 3 jobs in a day by just being able to travel in and out. Whereas if you're using our public transport system, it can take you 2 hours to get to location, 2 hours to come back, 2 hours to go there. So you're losing money. It costs you a lot of more. Item number 3 is I stopped spending on clothes. Now, listen, it's a well-known thing. Young men, we like to look fresh for the ladies out there, but the one thing that I had to stop spending my money on was clothing, because clothing was just costing me too much money. Anytime that I go into a mall, come out with a t-shirt or come out with something, I'm a big WWE fan, man. I had merch all over the place. I had to stop doing that because that was just costing me a lot of money, which was unnecessary to spend, especially now in a recession. 2020, I bought most of the clothes I have now. 21, I was like, nope. Nah, I lost a lot of money from this. Item number 4 is updates, man. You gotta stop spending on damn updates. The iPhone, if you blink, I remember the iPhone when it came out, and we all wanted the first iPhone. We all wanted iPhone 5. We all wanted iPhone 7. Now we are literally waiting for the iPhone 15. For me, when the iPhone 10 came out, I made a decision that I will not be switching my phones. It will take a minute before I get the latest iPhone, because these updates, man, they cost a lot of money. You spend $1,500 on the latest iPhone, and then next year you have to spend another $1,500. And the sad part is when you do like that trade-in that Apple does, and then you realize the value of your iPhone that you have, like it goes from $1,500 to $300 within a year, and you're like, yo, why do I keep spending this money? I can save my money. So now I just use my iPhone 13. Yeah, I know I said iPhone 10, but yeah, I just use my iPhone 13. Maybe I'll give it another 3 years before I update and just save those dollars, especially if it doesn't really benefit me in any way. I need a phone just to check my social medias and to make phone calls. Like I don't need much from these phones, The next item is I stopped purchasing when it comes to sales. The benefit of being a marketer is understanding how other marketers think from a basic level. Like, I'm not in these people's minds, but the main thing that we do with sales and marketing, the goal is to get people in and get people to spend more money than they were willing to spend. So like when you look at days like Black Friday, those things are literally put in a budget, when they are planning out their year. And you find on sales, a lot of sales are made. But then for me, I don't sit down and be like, yo, I'm going to spend most of my money on this sale. I'm constantly spending money throughout the year. So why would I do that? So for me, I stopped looking for a good sale. I stopped looking for a good deal. And I'll just buy things when I need them. Like when I need A, B, C, if it costs me 10,000, I'll save up 10,000. If there's a sale at that time when I have the 10,000, then great. But I will not spend money that I did not plan on spending just because something is on sale and something looks like a good deal. The next item on the list is things that I don't understand. I'm this type of guy like who loves technology, who's always experimenting. That's why you saw me come out with my friend here. Sometimes I don't really understand how these things work, so I try to buy them and bring them to my house so that I can figure it out. Like this thing, I thought it would be useful for lighting, but it's not just a thing that we just keep here. So you gotta be very careful with the things that you buy. And for me, that was a big lesson. Don't just be spending money because you have money. Software, when it comes to video production, music production, the one thing you're constantly doing is spending money. And that's something that you have to stop. I had to stop. I had to say, listen, I have enough software that I need to do the jobs that I need with the skills that I have. It's better to improve on your skills, not software. Software will not take you to the places that you want to go. When it comes to storytelling, a beautiful story can be told on the cheapest level item that you have. If it's a good story, it will work. So I had to learn that don't keep on spending money on software and unnecessary updates to the software. If you're someone who makes music, you probably know about Waves, man. Those people just know how to take away our money. The next item is high maintenance items, man. Like things that just need you to keep on maintaining them. Cars, houses, stuff like that. I had to stop. Like right now, I have a basic car that doesn't require a lot from me. Like I said, my car payment is $300. So it's not really something bush. It's not something that takes away a lot of money from me. I have a friend who owns like a Tesla, and you see some of the bills that they get in trying to maintain those things where you're like, damn, $1,600 for 2 tires? Like, sheesh, man. But for me, that's entirely like my whole car service within the year, So I've really cut down on high maintenance stuff. And even relationships, man. Some relationships are just high maintenance. So I try to avoid those as much as I can. The next thing that I stopped doing is dating, man. Like dating is one of those expensive things. I don't know, to all my fellas out there, I cannot speak for ladies because I am not. But I can tell you that I had to stop dating because dating costs money, man. Like you're outside, you're on a date. Every time you go out to a restaurant, you're spending money that's unnecessary, and we're in a recession, it's not really worth it. Like you find when you're dating someone, all of a sudden when you used to eat inside, you no longer do that. You're getting Uber, and Uber Eats like costs a lot of money. Like I did a breakdown one time for myself, and I was like, yo, I'm spending almost $60 a meal. So in a day, I'm spending $120 just on Uber Eats. Multiply that by 5, multiply that by 12. How much money has gone just into Uber Eats? And I can literally just take the same amount of money, go to a grocery store, get me some groceries, come and cook, man. I got an air fryer. What else do I need, So I had to put brakes on dating and just date one girl and just, trying to make it work. If that doesn't work, it's cool, man. I'd rather have money than be broken in love. The final thing, I will just share with you my thoughts on spending. Life is about living. You got to spend money on yourself to make yourself happy. For me, I've realized I have most of the stuff that I need. Most of the things that I have to buy from now on is just things that I want to make things a little bit better for my business, things for, my lifestyle. If I have to move in a different apartment, for me, it has to make sense. It's not necessarily that I need a bigger apartment. I have a roof on top of my head. That's what I need. But in terms of wants, the way that I now approach life is just with a budget. So if I want to have a better car, if I want to have this, then I have to put a plan for it and then be able to spend money on it. But the tricky part is we're in a recession, or we're in times where the economy is just acting a little bit weird, and it's wiser to keep money because you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So you just want to have that cash, that buffer for yourself, and that security. So my encouragement to you is, look at your budget, have a plan, understand what's going on for yourself. Cut a lot of spending. Don't be like me. Learn from me. You know what I mean? Like that's how we succeed in this world. With that said, man, if you need help with setting your financial goals, I made a video over here. Go check it out. If you also need help on understanding some of the financial mistakes that I made in the past 5 years. I made a video over here and you can learn from me. I'll be seeing you guys in the next one.